And Vanderbilt reinvents the celebrity superfan with Nate Bargatze.
You are Locked On Vandy, your daily podcast on the Vanderbilt Commodores, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Well, what's up, everybody? Welcome into another edition of the Locked On Vandy podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. I'm your host, Corey Burton. On today's episode, this is going to be a fun one. Okay, we're going to talk about Tyler Tanner participating in the NBA draft combine scrimmages, and his performances might signify that he could be coming back to Vandy if his performances are any indicator on that. But first, we're going to start with, Nate Bargatze is redefining the celebrity superfan in the SEC. He might have just taken over the top spot from Matthew McConaughey, and he had a unique NIL opportunity for one Jared Curtis. And that's where we're going to start, because Nate Bargatze's new movie Breadwinner just premiered. And there was a very interesting cast member, and I haven't seen it yet, so I don't know which scene it's in. But I've heard that it's I've heard that it's more than just your standard cameo. It's actually, he has a speaking role, and it's not a huge role, but it's enough to really kind of like, okay, that's Jared Curtis there. And he is, like I said, I'm not sure exactly what the role is, but it's really cool that Vanderbilt has morphed into this NIL. It seems like they're getting more creative ways to give out and provide NIL opportunities, and B, get some of their biggest fans, some of their more influential fans involved, like Nate Bargatze. When he was on game day, he took full advantage of that. He cast Jared Curtis as part of his NIL deal. I mean, that's some cutting edge stuff for Vanderbilt, and no one's doing it. Is Matthew McConaughey doing it at Texas? No. And it's crazy. And I absolutely love it. And the backlash that he's getting, I mean, it's just a movie role. Like, I don't understand why people are, so up in arms. I think what it does is it increases Jared Curtis's visibility. It connects Vanderbilt football with Nashville. It makes Vanderbilt cool because they're in the movies. They got one of the he's probably, I would say he's probably one of the biggest names in comedy. I would venture to say that. And the fact that he's doing this is unbelievable. And it just shows that there's a lot of buzz around the program. It shows that, people are starting to get committed. People are paying attention. And the fact that there's a lot of backlash around this means that they're becoming relevant. And when you have haters, you become relevant. And that's something that I think Vanderbilt is starting to kind of become. And Jared Curtis is becoming bigger than just football. He's becoming part of Vanderbilt's brand. And like I said, this is a freaking home run. And it's unique because you could throw somebody on a commercial. That's fine. You could throw somebody on a billboard. You could have them represent in various different ways. But to cast them in your movie as that movie, I don't know how much it's going to be watched. There's some people out there saying, boycott this movie, don't see this movie, but every time somebody flips on this movie, they're going to see Jared Curtis, they're going to see a Vanderbilt hat. And the fact that this is becoming a bigger and bigger and bigger story means it's getting attention. And I don't know, I don't know if it's going to start a trend. It may not. I'm not real sure about that. It would be kind of cool if it did. It'd be really cool if it did, because, Vanderbilt, being a trendsetter in the SEC is something that's fairly new. So again, it becomes like a cool place to be. Hey, if I go there, NIL visibility, like, hey, if I'm good enough, maybe Nate Bargatze will cast me. Maybe I need to go there because maybe this program is this, right? You get some national relevance. People are talking about you. Fans are engaging. And right now there's Vandy fans battling with Georgia fans because Georgia fans are jealous that they didn't get quite the star power. Like, Jared Curtis he's something, man. And I I absolutely love all of this. And what's great about it is, and I know people are probably, and here's the graphic right here. I know what people are probably thinking, like, oh, why don't you, I've seen some of the comments, like Aaron Murray said, why don't you take some SEC snaps before you start doing all this stuff? And that's fine and all, but like, if you were 18 years old and somebody came up to you and asked you if you wanted to be in a movie, would you say no? No, I wouldn't. You wouldn't. Nobody would, right? If Nate Bargatze or whoever was the most relevant comedian in that day, like for me, if I was 18 years old and Adam Sandler came up to me and said, hey, would you want to be in one of my movies as part of your NIL deal? Yeah, I would absolutely do it. Or if Chappelle was like, hey, I want to put you on the Chappelle show. I don't know why you would, but if he said that, you don't like turn that stuff down. And I know Chappelle show is an iconic show on Comedy Central, and Adam Sandler's one of the best. He's hugely successful in the movie market, and Breadwinner may not be that type of movie, but still, the point is you have a celebrity, big name, and Nate Bargatze's a big name. He hosts, he's exploded. He's been on the rise. And he asked Jared Curtis to be in his movie. Jared Curtis is not like knocking down the door. Jared Curtis is not going on a press junket about his appearance in the movie. Like, people are acting like he's going around on all these national talk shows and saying, oh, look at me, I'm in this movie. No, he was asked to do something. He did it. It was a cool opportunity, and it was part of his NIL package. Who wouldn't do that? Like, if a country star asks you to be in their music video as an 18-year-old incoming freshman, you wouldn't do it? And he's not, the thing is, he's not making a big deal about it. And I think that's where a lot of people are up in arms about it, is because they feel like he's making a big deal. Like, he's not. He did something he thought was cool. Like, I'm going to be in a movie. Like, that's cool. Right? He's going to get a lot of opportunities like that, not with just Nate Bargatze, but as he becomes more successful, or as his brand starts to rise, he'll probably get some more of those type opportunities. So this is probably likely and hopefully the start. And again, for Vanderbilt, when you look bigger picture, recruiting, like you got this going on, like this has never happened. Like, Nate Bargatze's been a Vandy fan all his life and he's talked about it. But now you got Vandy's quarterback being the star of a movie. Like, yeah, sign me up. Like, that program just seems like it's cool to be around. Like, if I didn't know anything about that, and if I wasn't hosting Locked On Vandy, I would probably say the exact same thing I'm saying now. That is a cool opportunity, and I would take it in a heartbeat, and so would you, right? NIL visibility. It shows that Vanderbilt's willing to think outside the box when it comes to NIL. It's not just cut a check and be absent. Like, they're going to promote you, right? They're going to promote you. They're going to promote your brand. However that looks for Jared Curtis, it's a starring. It was not starring, but it is a spot in a major motion picture, one that's hit theaters, one that's premiered by one of the biggest names in comedy right now. That is a huge deal. Fan engagement. It's got fans buzzing. Vanderbilt is, they're likely, it's shifting. I'm not saying it's all going to avalanche overnight, but it's shifting into, hey, this is the place to go, which means now you're starting to get the national attention, and the fan engagement is leading to national relevance. People are going to be talking about this. National outlets are going to be talking about this. This is a very, very new thing. And now that Matthew McConaughey sees this, his wheels are turning, right? Because you don't want to leave Texas. Like, now Texas just got upstaged with Matthew McConaughey. Oh, they put the quarterback in the movies. Oh, we need to get Arch in a movie. Now I need to write a movie. We're putting Arch in it right now, right? And don't tell me Arch wouldn't do it. Arch would most definitely do that. If you approached Arch and said, hey, would you want a small part in this movie? He would say yes. It's a cool opportunity. Now, on the flip side, for Jared Curtis, you do these things, now the pressure ratchets up. Expectations rise. Media attention, that grows. Everything is scrutinized. Everything was already going to be scrutinized. Now it's even more. Everything is under a microscope. Everything gets amplified. So that comes with the territory, of course. And when you deal with those kind of things, obviously he's going to deal with the positive attention. He's going to deal with the negative attention that comes with it. He knows what he's getting into. And like I said, everything's going to be under a microscope. And this says a lot about the momentum of Jared Curtis, the momentum of the program and everything around Jared Curtis and Vanderbilt. The expectations are rising and people are having a hard time handling that. Vanderbilt is not same old Vanderbilt. This team is changing. Is it changing drastically? Possibly. But there's a shift happening and people can't understand it. People can't fathom it. People can't fathom Vandy not being the doormat. They struggle with it. And again, now Vandy's going to have to back it up. Winning matters, development matters, production matters. Now Jared Curtis is going to have a big year. He's going to have to back all of this up. And that's okay. Pressure is a privilege. Now, speaking of pressure and privileges and backing things up, Tyler Tanner participated in the NBA draft combine scrimmages. He's going through the draft process. What's going to happen with him? How did he do at the combine? What does that mean for the possibility of a return? To me, it may be likely. Is it? I don't know. We'll talk about it next. Have you ever looked at your bank account and just wondered, where has all my money gone? Well, you're not alone. Keeping track of subscriptions, spending, and bills can get overwhelming fast. That's where Rocket Money comes in, helping you take control of your finances all in one place. How does Rocket Money help you keep track of finances? Well, it tracks all your subscriptions in one spot and can help cancel the ones you don't need with just a few taps. It automatically categorizes your spending so you can actually see where your money is going. And you can set budgets, get alerts, and stay on top of upcoming bills. It just makes everything feel more organized, and it gives you a clearer picture of your finances day to day. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps find and cancel unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps you lower bills so you can grow your savings. So let Rocket Money help you reach your financial goals faster. Join at rocketmoney.com/lockedon. That's rocketmoney.com/lockedon. If you want ad-free audio for the Locked On Vandy podcast, well, look no further. It's the Locked On Vandy Everydayers Club. And make sure that you click the link below. You get members-only access to our Discord channel if you click the link below. It's in the show notes, or it's right here on the screen, lockedonvandy.supercast.com. Just type that into your browser or simply click the link in the show notes, and you too can get that ad-free audio and Discord access just in a few clicks. So make sure you join the Everydayer Club today. Link is in the show notes. Thanks for making Locked On Vandy your first listen. Thank you for making Locked On Vandy part of your day, and thank you for making Locked On number one. We talked about Nate Bargatze, and it's such a cool opportunity for NIL. And I it's tough to predict if that's going to be a game-changing type scenario. It could be. We'll see what Matthew McConaughey, we'll see how he responds out there in Austin, see if maybe Arch Manning gets into a new movie, or Texas' next big quarterback, see if they end up in a Matthew McConaughey movie. Could happen. Again, this could be a trend. This could be a one-time thing. Who knows? All I know is this. It's a very cool thing, and it's a very it's just fun. It's a fun way to give someone an NIL opportunity. I mean, like I said, what 18-year-old wouldn't say yes to a movie opportunity? But we're going to switch gears to basketball, because the biggest story in the offseason for Vandy hoops is Tyler Tanner. Is he staying? Is he going? He entered the draft with the opportunity to return. What that means is if he doesn't get picked I think he has to make it to a certain date before the draft to pull out of the draft. But if he gets reports back and they're not favorable, then he can return. He'll be eligible to return. So for Tyler Tanner, if you ask me, I think it's a great idea to return. And I also don't, at the same time, I also don't fault him for wanting to try the NBA draft combine, because he's a hell of a player. He was the igniter for this Vandy team last year. I mean, if you look at this roster shouldn't have been a 5 seed. right? They were a good roster. They became a 5 seed. They got within one game of winning the SEC tournament. This team played some really, really good basketball. Tyler Tanner was a big part of that. Now, for Tyler Tanner, he walked into the combine with something to prove. And honestly, I think he did open some eyes. But when you think about it, it may not have opened eyes as much as he probably hoped. And for Vanderbilt fans and the chances of him coming back, that is probably a positive, because he didn't have the greatest of combines. And it is, it's debatable whether or not he helped himself, because there's talk that he didn't. But he was just like, for an NBA team in the first round, I think you have to, like, especially if you're 5'10", 165 pounds, I think you have to go above and beyond what a normal first round performance would be. And I'm not sure that Tyler Tanner did that. He went, let's see, in Thursday scrimmage, he went 1 for 7 shooting. He was 0 for 4 from behind the arc. He turned it over 3 times. He hit a shot and he was able to make some assists. But like, if he's in a guard heavy class, and for him, he's got to stand out. He's got to be far and away above everybody else. And I don't think that was there. I mean, he has the skills. He has the talent. He has everything you want from a game perspective, but the size and the performances weren't great either. But he had an up and down scrimmage his first go, and then he scored 13 points. The next time out, he was 3 of 7 from 3-point range. He was 4 of 11 from shooting. He had 5 fouls. He also had 5 assists, 2 steals, and only turned it over twice. But again, he was up and down, and he just looked like he just kind of blended in, which for Tyler Tanner, you can't do that. And that's something that I think when he gets his draft grade back, I think when these scouts are kind of looking and evaluating, I don't know that Tyler Tanner is going to be in the forefront of those evaluations. I don't know that he's done enough to this point in the process to say, okay, I'm going to definitely stay with the NBA draft process. Because the pros of that obviously are his dream is to play in the NBA and he has a chance to do so. But at what cost? Because you have an opportunity, because you're a superstar at Vanderbilt, you have an opportunity to come back and be that superstar. Develop physically. You're probably not going to grow taller than 5'10", but you can get stronger. You can get more explosive, and you can work on the things you need to work on, like mid-range shooting, 3-point shooting, and then just things that plagued you in the scrimmages here at the NBA Draft Combine. So to me, I think the takeaway is this. I don't think he made himself a lock for a great draft spot. And returning to Vandy, I think is the decision. I think that's the choice. I think that's the option you got to go with, because if you go back to Vandy, you can make yourself better. If you go back to Vandy, you can make yourself stronger, be able to withstand an NBA schedule, and be able to be more competitive against the upper echelon of players. Because when he mixed in with all the draft prospects, that's the best of the best in college basketball, he just blended in. He was just okay. He was good. He was solid. But teams aren't gonna burn a high first round pick and a lot of guaranteed money on someone who's solid. Now, if there's a team that has a really deep roster and they want to take a flyer in the late first round, okay, maybe. But there are a lot of guards in this draft. And yeah, like I said, Tyler Tanner he's not stood out. He's not stood out in a good way. He's not stood out in a bad way. which for him should mean, let me go back to Vanderbilt for one more year. And that's kind of how I take it. That's kind of how I take these performances for him. Tyler Nickel is out of eligibility, so he can't come back. But and I thought he had a pretty decent scrimmage, and I think somebody, I think he can make his way onto a roster and be kind of a glue guy and a sharpshooter, and just kind of get back to doing what he does best, which is shooting the three, even though he went cold in a run during the season. But for Tanner, it's a chance for him to really, really show some things for Vanderbilt. And I think if he comes back, obviously top 25, but we could even take it a step further. I think Vandy could have near a top 10 roster if Tyler Tanner is on it. And what that means is this: they have a legitimate shot at making a significant run in the dance. Now, there's other good teams. I get it. But they can be right in that mix with them. And that is exciting if you're a Vanderbilt fan, that possibility. Now, again, there's still more time in this process. There's still a lot of information, workouts, draft evaluations, meetings, things like that. There's still a lot of things that have to happen before this deadline for him to pull out of the draft. And so there's going to be a lot of questions. There's going to be a lot of concerns. There's going to be a lot of options. Okay, what about this? What about that? And if he gets a second round grade, he's coming back. If he gets anything like 28 to 30, he's coming back. But if there's a team out there that would be willing to draft him in the teens, now that would be a tough sell. I can go in the teens to a playoff team and make them better and have an opportunity for playing time. I think if he goes to a ready-made roster, a winning roster that's going to be picking at the back of the first round, I'm not so sure that he's not better off going to Vanderbilt at that point. And obviously that's a decision he's going to have to make. And he may want to just go to the NBA and just take a chance and see what happens. But to me, I think you increase your chances of actually sticking in the NBA if you come back to college. And that could be a game changer for both parties. That could be a game changer for Tanner. That could be a game changer for Vanderbilt. They could get that ring. He could get a bag in NIL, and he can build his resume. He can develop himself physically, and he can develop his game for the NBA draft the following year. And so that's going to be something that he has to consider. And to me, I think that's what he should do. So, but that's it. That's all we have. And that's going to do it here for the Locked On Vandy podcast, man. I hope you guys have a great weekend. Check out the stuff about the offensive line later on today. That was a great episode with Mike Huseman. We broke down the Union, so make sure you check that out. That's going to come out later on today. And of course, it's going to be all the football stories. And this Nate Bargatze, Jared Curtis thing is cool. It's unique. It's something different. It's something outside the box. It's a way to make a statement. It's a way to incorporate NIL into what you do best. And honestly, I think it's cool. So, in the comments, let me know your thoughts on the Nate Bargatze, Jared Curtis movie role. Let me know your thoughts on Tyler Tanner. Whatever you want to say there. Is he staying? Is he going? And for the NIL thing, is this going to start a trend? Is this something that Nate Bargatze might think about doing in a certain way each cycle? Who knows? I don't know how many movies he's going to end up making, but I'm just glad he's involved in the NIL game. That's for sure. So until next time, have a great weekend. We'll see you back here next time on the Locked On Vandy podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, covering your team every single day. Make sure you like, subscribe, and follow on all social media platforms at Locked On Vandy, wherever you get your podcast, and on YouTube as part of the Locked On Podcast Network, covering your team every day. And make sure also drop a comment as well. And until next time, anchor down. Peace.